Welcome to RVing in New England, the nation's only forum that puts you on stage with some of the biggest names in the RV industry. And now your hosts, John DePietro and Bob Zagami.
That was the teaser. I was just a little bit slow on the cursor there, so
that's all right.
Heck, how are you, John? Where's our co-host? Where's our other guy? Oh, there he is.
Oh, hey,
Bernie.
Uncle Bernie. I thought I lost you down in the tray there. And by the way, Sarah,
you left me out back in the shed.
no.
So we have another.
Sarah's in the green room, so we're gonna bring her up about 7:15, and I don't see
Sounds
Jordan
good.
there yet, but we'll get that going pretty soon. So
We have
John,
another.
Huh?
We have another 3-state show.
Really?
This is going to be a killer show. You know,
Bernie's
anytime we
in
talk
New Hampshire.
That's right.
Bob's in Maine.
I know,
I'm in
I know
South
you had
Carolina.
a rough day with traffic in Atlanta and rainstorms, but are you up to doing a commercial?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, all
Absolutely. So we want to thank our friends at Seacoast RVs, Route 1, Saco, Maine. And they've got the Winnebago lineup, they've got Crop, they've got Elevation, and they've got one of the nicest camp stores you'll find anywhere. Anywhere. I don't mean in Maine or in Saco, Maine or in New England. I mean anywhere. One of the nicest stores that you'll find. And they've also got propane. We just got propane there a couple weeks ago before we went on this trip. And that's that. So
yeah. This is with Kenny and Amanda, the owners, and
the whole gang.
Brittany Creamer, the sales manager, and Kendra Smith, the service manager. Right.
There you go.
Yeah.
I want to thank them. Let's look at this. Kevin Horkey's in Charleston. I was just in Charleston last week.
Yeah.
Kevin's on?
He's following you.
He is. He is. Well, you know what? The last couple nights, everywhere I look, there's been a cougar.
Wait a minute. How the hell did I get this on?
No.
Little buddy, what are you wearing?
Turn it the other way.
What? That way? Come on, I got
Hello, little buddy. Get over here.
Feel good. I put on. I can't see it though. How about if I hold it up?
There you go. That's beautiful.
We're not bashful. We take gifts. We blatantly say if somebody wants to give us a gift. Last time he gave us a couple of Keystone shirts. Yeah, last time we were with him. So,
but see, I can't wear any Keystone
salespeople out there who watch us.
I can't wear any Keystone product on this shift because on this trip because Forest River is our sponsor. Now, if Cougar would just make a motorized product, then I'm sure that we could get Kevin to be part of our show in the upcoming years.
No, they do so well. They do so well with towables. I don't think you're going to see them building
but there's cougars everywhere down there.
A motorized unit anytime soon.
Exactly.
So Horkey's in South Carolina. So aren't you in South Carolina tonight, DePietro?
I am, but I'm over on the other side of the state. He's over on the coast, and I am inland. So he must
west.
I'm way inland. I'm probably a couple hundred miles from Kevin, but I feel the vibrations. So
okay, so we got Jerry Plant and Jim Roy, and Maria's on tonight. Hello, Maria. Lisa's on again. Lisa, are you ready to buy an RV from Uncle Bernie yet? No, he's got you on his prospect
We're working
list.
on it. We're working on it.
On top of his desk, he's got Lisa at the top of his prospect list.
On the hot prospects.
Yeah.
The picture's right here in front of me.
Hot prospect list.
Why don't you give us an update on what you did this week, John?
Well, it was an interesting week. I can't try to figure out where we were when we saw you last, but we've spent 3 days. Well, we visited with our friends at Campers Inn at the headquarters. We talked with Jeff Hirsch.
That was Friday morning. Yeah, that was a great interview. It's getting a lot of press. Yeah,
I tell you, they have an impressive facility over in Jacksonville, right off 295, one of the ring roads around the city of Jacksonville. Then we spent three nights in Jacksonville, and then 3 nights in St. Augustine. And I think St. Augustine's turning into one of my favorite cities down there. Reminds me a lot of Key West. And then, because when you woke up in the morning, it was already 92 degrees, we decided to not head further south to Miami and West Palm, but to head to Central Florida, where we visited some springs where the water was 72 degrees, which seemed frigid compared to the pools, which were so hot. And then we headed up to Atlanta today, and I need to tell you all this. See, I'm saying you all now. I've been down here for 3 weeks.
You're getting it down pat. Yeah.
Do not attempt to spend a lot of time in your RV around Atlanta. The city is all dug up. I don't care whether you're on 75 or 275 or 595 or any of the ring roads around Atlanta. It's not RV friendly. I've got some other pictures I'll send to you later when I was stopped. But if you want to go into Atlanta to do any type of shopping or sightseeing, or like what we did today, to visit the aquarium.
Can I show it now?
Yeah, you can show that.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Hey everybody, it's John DePietro. The Do It Now tour continues, and we are in Atlanta, Georgia, and we're at the mall called the Cumberland Mall, and we are. What do we have to do here, Mila? We have to park the motorhome, and how do we get into the city?
Uber.
We took an Uber, and Mrs. DePietro, tell us where we went.
We went to the aquarium. It was great. So if you Uber in, it's fantastic because you can be dropped off right at the door.
All right. And Mila, how did you like the aquarium? What was your favorite part? The sharks?
Yeah.
Yeah, the sharks. So here's what happens, folks. There are times when you don't want to take a motorhome of any size, let alone a 33-footer, this Europa from Dynamax, into the big city. So what I did was consulted a few people online about driving in Atlanta. They said, absolutely don't do it. So they gave us the name of the Cumberland Mall, which we were able to find. It's about 10 minutes outside of the city. Can't see the skyscrapers from here, but you definitely don't want to be driving this type of motorhome in a big city. So what you should do, depending upon the city that you're going in, obviously you don't want to take one of these into Boston. Find out online. I use a Facebook group called RV Tips, and say, hey, I'm going to be in Atlanta, where do I park? Or I'm going to be in Charlotte, where do I park? And obviously these buses have done the same thing, and we saw many school buses, many school groups as well. So they parked out here, and the parking's free. You just have to pay for the Uber. But wave to everybody. Now we're going to get in and head to Charlotte, and we'll see you. Thanks for joining us here on the Do It Now tour.
Well, that's fantastic, John.
So there you go. I mean, it's just the thing is I found is this. We have gone everywhere from a dirt road to I counted a 7-lane highway today in one direction. But here's one lesson I learned yesterday. When you're traveling in an RV of that size, always, folks, not sometimes, but always use the RV Life Trip Wizard. Because yesterday at just about this time, I got off the Trip Wizard and onto find the directions from a property that I was looking for. And I'm driving. All of a sudden I see a sign saying pavement ends. And along with the pavement ending, the road became half as wide as it was.
Ooh.
And the trees were there. So
Yeah.
it was a good learning experience to back up a 33-foot RV. And this was after my wife had fallen earlier in the day, so she wasn't able to go out and back me up. So, but we made it.
I'm glad.
Using those mirrors and cameras and all that good stuff.
And everything.
Yeah.
Our guests
Special
are ready
thanks.
to come on, so let me bring up Sarah and Jordan.
And I am going to take this family out to dinner.
I think that's great. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, everyone.
All right.
Sarah.
Hey, Sarah.
Hi.
And we will. Jordan, I'm going to bring you up in 2 seconds. All right, John, we will catch up to you next week.
Okay.
See
y'all.
Where you headed for the next couple of days?
We are heading to Charlotte tomorrow morning, and then up to the foothills of Virginia, and then I'm not going to do the Blue Ridge Mountains. With that,
go ahead. I challenge you to do the Blue Ridge Mountains.
No. We like our friends at Forest River too much to destroy a motorhome on the Blue Ridge Parkway, and then we're going to Penn Dutch Country, and heading home.
All right. Have a safe trip. We will talk to you later on.
Everybody.
Bye now.
Take it easy, John.
See you guys.
Sarah, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming in tonight.
Good to see you guys. How are you?
I'm fantastic.
Welcome, Sarah. Welcome, Jordan, to RVing in New England. So,
hey, guys.
Jordan.
I'm impressed that you could take some time out of your busy schedule, Jordan. Now, I assume you're already in New Hampshire, right? Or are you flying in tomorrow?
Not yet. You know, when we started our race team back in 2018, we drove everywhere, whether it was Vegas or Phoenix or New Hampshire, we drove to it. But I'm fortunate now we are actually getting to fly up there Friday morning. So we'll fly up Friday for practice and a little bit of tech, and then we'll get ready for the race on Saturday.
Fantastic.
Now, have you done Loudon before?
I have. Actually, my first time there was in 2015 and 2016. And then I ran the Xfinity race up there last year. So it's a fun track. It's unique. It's probably the biggest short track that we go to in terms of it's big, it's flat, and it always puts on a good show. And it's always fun. The race fans up in the Northeast love their NASCAR, and it's always cool to see how many of them are out there camping and hanging out all weekend. And they definitely know how to have a good time up there.
Well, they do. And, we were disappointed when they took one of the races away from us because we used to get July and September. In fact, Bernie, at one time, didn't Campers Inn sponsor the races over there?
We sponsor some racers, Harvick, I think. Yeah. I think we have a couple of racers that we do sponsor. Yeah. Currently.
Yeah. Very cool.
Very exciting. Yeah. And, I wish we had more races like down south. I think there's more races, easier to get to and stuff like that. But man, I'd love to go down there. Hey,
it's pretty cool. We've kind of got a little bit of a swing coming up the northern part of the country. We've got New Hampshire this weekend. We're down in Pocono next weekend. We go to Indy after that. We've got Michigan coming up. So we've got some pretty cool tracks coming up on our schedule. And that is one thing that's pretty unique about the Xfinity series. We've got 33 races on our schedule, starts in Daytona in February, runs all the way through Phoenix in November. So we're somewhere at a racetrack almost every week out of the year. And it's pretty cool. Sarah and I, we've kind of talked more about some of the camping and getting more involved with Dometic, and it's pretty cool. I'm paying more attention now to campers, and I've actually gotten to be friends with some of these fans that come to these racetracks, and there's people that'll travel and camp at 7 or 8 different races that they'll make a big weekend trip out of it and make a road trip out of it. So it's a pretty cool sport. I mean, there's not really many sports out there. You go to a baseball game or a football game, you may go, tailgate for the day. But NASCAR is like a full-blown week-long tailgate that everybody's just out there hanging out, having a good time. So it's always awesome to see that. It's cool to see how many people are following our team and kind of the journey that we've been on as it keeps growing year after year.
Well, I write
with a company like Dometic, I'm sure that's a great marriage that you folks have. It's so like Americana, that RVing and NASCAR and how that all blends together. And great component supplier like Dometic is a perfect fit for you guys for sure.
It definitely is, and I'm sure Sara could probably kind of expand on a little bit, but it's been fun working together, and Sara and her team did a great job at Daytona activating and kind of hanging out with the fans and seeing them down there. And I actually sent her a text. I think it was Darlington race weekend. I actually went down and we hosted a bunch of our sponsors at an RV down there, and we climbed up top, and I was kind of showing them around the racetrack, talking about, how Darlington is different. And I got up there, I said, God, look at all these RVs that have the Dometic air conditioners on top. And I'm like paying attention to it now.
90%.
I know. But Sara, you have to tell them kind of how this all started and kind of the ride that we've been on. It's been really fun working together.
Yeah, it has. Thanks, Jordan. It's, this guy and his crew are like salt of the earth kind of people. You sit here and you're thinking, man, I'm talking to a race car driver and a team owner. Like, it's big time. But this guy is probably one of the most well-spoken people that I've come across in a very long time. Sharp as a tack and just salt of the earth. And it's been a pleasure partnering our business with him and his business and his brand. And it makes sense. Racing and RVing go together like peanut butter and jelly. And so when we got connected, gosh, I think it was like it was like fall last year, and then we finally had everything to come together in January. It just really made sense, and it's been a great journey for us. It's kind of a lot to learn up front. There's a lot of us who haven't been to a NASCAR race before. There was a few of us who we don't know what that infield experience is like. But, over the course of the last few months, we've learned a lot. We've grown a lot. And I know for me, I even messaged you the other day and I was like, I miss you. Like, we haven't been at a race in a minute, so it's been wonderful. And it's fun to bring the brands to customers together. I love the fact that, Jordan is, in my opinion, young in this game. And I love that. I love being a part of his journey and his start to, we're definitely nowhere near the finish of his story. And it's just great to be with you. And I think there's a lot of parity in our brands. We're both experienced, but yeah, we've got a long way to go, both of us, and a lot of growth in the brand. So it's been really good. And honestly, it's really just fun to see your logo all over a race truck. I mean, let's be honest, right?
That's really cool, I have to say.
Well, I've written a lot for trade and consumer magazines, and I do about one NASCAR article a month. And if you go back before the sport started to slip just a little bit, it was not unusual to have 10,000 RVs at a racetrack every weekend. Wow. And that's the bond between the campers and the RVs and the NASCAR people. And I'll tell you, the thing that the people that wonder why those of us that go crazy over the sport can't understand is nowhere else in sports do you have the relationship that you have with the drivers and the pit crew. They will sign autographs on their way to their car. They'll lean out the car window and sign an autograph. If you're in the garage, if you're fortunate enough to have a pit pass, they'll come over and talk to you. There is no pretentiousness whatsoever. I don't care if it's a Richard Petty or Jordan Anderson. It doesn't make a difference. They truly value their customers. And it'd be nice if a lot of corporations in this country valued their customers as much as NASCAR does. What's the other side of that, Jordan? Why do you feel that's so important?
I think that's one thing that's been really cool about my involvement in the sport. You look at my journey. I came from a family that really, we weren't racers. We had no idea what we were doing when we started this. My mom owned a hair salon. My dad was in property management, repairing houses and flipping them. And they supported me wholeheartedly, but we kind of got in at the ground level. Like we weren't a family that had a lot of funding behind us or had an uncle that raced or a family that raced. We started at the ground level and worked our way up, all the way up into, we're the second tier series other than the Cup Series that's racing there on Saturdays. And to go from a kid that had a dream to, 20 years later here racing and owning a team, it shows that the American dream is alive and well within NASCAR. And there's lots of other people in our sport that are just like that. So I think a lot of us had to really work for these opportunities. We've had people that have helped us out along the way to make those opportunities possible. And you don't forget that along the way. So when you see these fans of the track and you see people that are supporting you and you're wearing your gear and want an autograph, you make time for them, because without them, we wouldn't be where we are today. And it's cool to make these relationships and you meet fans. And that's the cool thing nowadays with, you've got Instagram and Twitter and Snapchat and Facebook, and these fans will send a message, and I still do all my social media stuff, and I enjoy that side of it. And I'll meet a fan like, oh yeah, I'm so-and-so from Twitter, and I've been following you and supporting you. I'm like, oh yeah, it's nice to put a face with a name now and meet you in person. And going back up to New Hampshire this weekend, I got a lot of fans that are wanting to meet up and see us when we get up there. So it's cool to see these people that follow this journey and follow the team. I think it is cool. You look around the garage here, and there's a lot of people like myself that have had to work hard for their opportunities, and they've got them, and they want to make sure that the fans are taken care of. And, that's one thing that John Bomarito, my partner on the team, and I have joked about. I said, that's one thing about being a race car driver. You can have a rough day, kind of like we had it. That was, some of those pictures were from Vegas. We ran so good all day and got wrecked in the last lap. And we had a lot of fans hanging out of the trailer after the race is over. And you just kind of got to hit that switch and kind of put it all in perspective and, keep a smile on your face and still be happy about it. Because at the end of the day, life's not that bad. We're able to be at the track doing what we love to do. And we're surrounded by people that want to be there and they're watching our sport. So it is exciting to share something that we love so much with all the fans that are there watching it and just there for the weekend to have a good time.
Yeah.
It is wonderful that you're doing a sport that you really truly love, and you get to live a life of a celebrity, but you're also so rooted and so down to earth. And I think of what's it like to own a racing horse, and you're walking around with a fedora and an Armani suit, but you're out there talking and meeting and greeting all the fans, all the people that love you. And then you got someone like Sara who represents Dometic, and I'm sure she's out there, talking to these folks, on all the RVs. And I'm wondering if you've seen a lot of the new innovations that Dometic has had recently, if you're seeing a lot of those things out at the races, some of the solar packages or new refrigeration things that they're using, or, some of the awnings. What's going on out there on the track?
Yeah, they've got some pretty cool products that they've come out with, and they've shared a couple of them with us. And I know that Sarah, that's my dog. That's Brett. That's our guard dog.
Mine are in my lap, and they're not that loud.
But
I thought it was my neighbors.
Some cool product at the start of the year, and it's actually pretty cool. We've had some fans walk through and see the cooler they sent us and some of the other products. And it's been neat how people have reached out and like, man, I didn't know they made that, and being able to talk with them about some of the other products. So it has been cool to learn more about what they have and some of the products they have to offer. And I've dove in. I remember when we first started this relationship, I probably spent an hour on their website going through all the YouTube videos. I'm like, man, they have some pretty cool stuff. And they're actually working with us now to kind of help upfit our team hauler and our shop here. And they've got some pretty sweet stuff that we're going to make some of the other race teams a little jealous with some of the products that we have that we're working on right now. But it is pretty cool. And I know, Sarah, that was one thing that we talked about with racing and what you guys are doing. You guys have kind of gone through a rebrand in the last couple of years, and that's kind of where the racing kind of fit in well. I think the timing for us getting this thing going was pretty good, don't you think?
I agree. And it's funny. I think back to when we were at Daytona. That was our first race we did. And I had my marketing crew out there, and, we were just kind of hitting the infield and talking to folks. And it's funny. I'd walk up and I have, Dometic gear on, but I'm handing out Jordan Anderson and Dometic shirts and stuff. And people
You're
be
a real fan.
Yeah. People be like, free shirt. Yeah. I want a free shirt. But then they'd say, oh, you're with Dometic? I got a Dometic. And then they're sliding out the CFX3s, or, a lot of coolers be whipping out real quick. And
is that tray refrigerated thing that you guys have?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty slick.
Hey, speaking about giving stuff away, we got a little contest tonight. Sara has graciously donated. Let me put it up here. a complete. You want to describe it, Sarah? I think it's a fantastic gift, and it's expensive, but we appreciate you.
So,
and then I'll tell you the rules for it, because it's not going to be easy to win. Go ahead.
okay, so this is our new Dometic Go camping furniture, and this line we just launched a couple months ago, and this is for anybody who loves the outdoors, no matter the vehicle you get out in. If you get out in an RV, or maybe it's your SUV or an overlanding vehicle, we wanted to make products that make mobile living easy no matter the vehicle. So this furniture is really slick, and I absolutely love it. I took it to a small show here in Elkhart last weekend, and people just raved about these chairs. I personally love this table. It's a bamboo table. It's got like 3 different heights. It's perfect for adults and kids. This furniture is beautiful, but yet super durable. And the beauty of it is it all fits in your vehicle. So I have a brand new Volkswagen car, and it's small, and I fit 4 of these chairs, the table, the bench, and a whole bunch of other coolers in my vehicle. And it's just really cool stuff, and it's durable, and they all come with carrying sacks except for the table, but we'll get you a sack whoever wins this. So yeah, we're proud of it.
Right.
Dometic Go, buy it on our website.
Very cool.
Dealers, we're going to be selling it through RV dealers as well. So yeah, I'm excited about it.
All right,
Awesome.
so here's
Bring it on
what
up
I'm
to
gonna do. See, I'm gonna make this a little bit tough, Sarah, but I've got a backup plan, because it's a NASCAR show, and I'm sure all of our NASCAR fans are on tonight. And Bernie, I want you to go through the comments, and after I get done doing this, we're gonna recognize some of the people. I see Michael DePietro's on. That's John's brother, and he's our resident NASCAR, so he'll have some good questions for you,
Sure.
Jordan. So here's the deal. Jordan also owns, and let me find it here, the number 31 car. And if I screw this up, Jordan, don't be afraid to slap my hands and tell me I'm wrong. But he owns the 31 car in the Xfinity series. It's
That's
driven
right.
by Matt Snyder.
Matt Snyder.
So, I'm sorry, what is it?
Matt Snyder.
Maya.
In the Bumburrito racing team, right?
Maya
That's
Snyder. So here's the thing. The first person that can tell me where the 31 car finished in Atlanta last weekend will win this set. Now, I understand that's a tough one, but I want to see just how good. I don't know if Walter Swenson's on tonight.
We're going to have some people scrambling to Google right now.
Yeah, exactly. But here's
got
the
a feeling that Mike DePietro knows.
If nobody guesses it, at the end of the show, I'll go through all the comments, and the person who had the 31st comment will win the Dometic set. How's that?
Nice.
Okay, that works.
All right.
So
Bernie,
can
what do
I
we
say
got
hi
on
to
the
some of the
schedule?
folks? Yeah. So we got Jerry Plant. He was our first, 2 weeks in a row. He's our first guest. No, not guest, but our participant in this podcast. And he's coming in from Cape Cod. And then we have Jim Roy. And man, he had a new facility, rebuilding Airstreams, right, this week? Is that what he does?
Yeah, that's Jim, right? Yep.
Yeah. What a crazy, fantastic facility. I am so proud of him, and I wish him all the best of luck at that new location. It's going to be a fantastic venture for you for sure. And we got Maria Gallant Moore. Good evening. Finally back in Massachusetts after being on the road for 6 weeks. Wow. Welcome back. And then we have Kevin Horkey. We know Kevin, the Cougar guy. He's the best ever. We don't sell Cougar any longer, but man, he was one of my favorite reps, and I see him at the shows, and I always say hi to him. He's in South Carolina. He's chasing John around. That's fantastic.
Bernie, I don't know if you know, but I used to work with Kevin over at Keystone. I was their channel marketing manager for a number of years, and Horkey's my guy, man.
Yeah, he's a great guy for sure,
Jordan,
and we welcome him.
He is as dedicated to his dealers and customers as you guys are to your fans at the NASCAR track. There's always a couple of people that rise above the crowd. Kevin's one, and he's always welcome in New England.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead,
And then
Bernie.
we have
Lisa.
we have Lisa, and she's saying hi to all of us. Dante is a regular on this show. He's been following this show forever.
Nice.
And Don Pat Hawes, hey guys, late again. We're burning up in Texas. At least I think that's an apology. Is that?
It's kind of see, our fans typically will apologize when they're late, Jordan. So they don't like to miss this stuff.
No,
Jim Convoy
I see. We have somebody. I think they might have gotten our answer down there. If I'm looking at the comments right.
You do? Okay. Look we got Willie now. Sarah,
I love
do you
Willie
know
Miller.
Willie?
Do I?
Willie is the brand not brand ambassador. Yeah, I guess he's a brand ambassador. Heartland.
Right. Heartland.
Yeah.
When he was on my podcast.
You know Willie,
Okay.
Sarah?
I don't know if I do, but I should.
You should.
That's
Absolutely.
shameful. Imagine that, Willie, somebody in the RV business who doesn't know who the hell you are. When you do that.
When he was on my
I gotta
podcast last year.
I gotta see if we got. Oh man,
What?
Mr. DePietro. See, I told you he was our one of our rabid fans. You are right, Michael DePietro. He finished 18th at Atlanta. Started 20th, finished 18th. You are right.
Yeah.
So we do have a winner.
Winner, chicken
There you
dinner.
go. Congrats, Michael.
Woo!
Yeah. So Willie's kind of the brand ambassador, and Bernie and I actually had lunch with him last week. He was in town. Here's a guy. He was on vacation in town with his girlfriend. He leaves his girlfriend because she had to work from home, and he comes over to New Hampshire to have lunch with Bernie and I.
Spent the whole day with us.
I know most people would say his priorities are a little bit screwed up, but I'm not sure I'd give up Ashley to go have lunch with me and you, bro.
He knows it was worth it for him, because when I had him on my podcast last year, I actually wrote a song or parodied a song for him. You know that? So we had a producer named Heather who was on the show for, the All Things RV show. And I parodied this song. Willie Miller out walking with gorillas down my street. Dun, 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 dun. From my hair and out caring as my coffee goes cold. Dun, 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 dun. Look over there, here comes Willie with his new girl Heather. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. They say that looks don't count for much. This sort of goes, you'll prove. I could go on forever. It was a lot of fun,
Bernie,
and I shocked the heck out of him. He's
Bernie,
such a flamboyant.
Bernie, it's Ashley, not Heather.
I know, but it was Heather that time because Heather had a crush on him. He's tall, dark, and handsome, So
that sounds good. I think we got Sarah. We got a member of your fan club here.
Yep, Kevin wants to say hello.
There he is. How about Kevin?
Kristen, can you see that on the bottom, Sarah? Chris Stender.
Hi.
Chris. Hi, Stender. Those are some of my two favorite Keystone guys, man. They're fantastic. I feel like I would buy anything that they're selling, like literally.
They do. They certainly do a good job. So, Jordan, what age were you at when you started racing, and did it come later in life or early in life with a lot of the guys and gals? They'd start and that kind of work their way up.
I think I was probably 6 when I told my mom and dad that I wanted to be a race car driver. So it started pretty early, and had an opportunity to go drive a friend's go-kart when I was 7, and they kind of helped point us in the right direction. We bought one of his old go-karts, started racing it, and the rest was kind of history from there. Moved up over the years, did go-karts for several years, moved into a series called Legend Cars, ran those across the Carolinas, ran late models, ran dirt and asphalt, traveled all over. So this was something that I've been doing. I'm 31 now. I've been doing it for probably 23, 24 years. So more than a half of my life I've been doing this racing deal. Went to college, believe it or not. I have a degree in business management with a minor in motorsports marketing. We have that thing exists here in North Carolina. So I was all within.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
All in on the racing deal. But I made my debut in the NASCAR Truck Series back in 2014, and kind of crazy how that deal happened, because earlier in that year in 14, I had gone to drive for another team owner at the time, and kind of put the deals together. You know, I put the crew together, helped build the car, bought all the pieces to put it all together. And this car owner at the time wanted me to kind of control it all, and he was going to come in and pay for it all. So we did this deal. We go and run the race, and long story short, he bounces town, writes a bunch of bad checks, and everybody's looking for me to get paid. And at the time, I had a couple of my own race cars, and I kind of thought that was the end of my racing career. I sold off everything I had. I paid this team owner's debts, and I said, if nothing else, I'm not going to owe anybody any money and go out with a clean slate. And believe it or not, I had an opportunity presented to me about 3 months after all this went down. A team owner in the truck series called me and said, hey, if you can come up with this much money, come run my truck at Phoenix. And believe it or not, after I sold all my cars and paid off all that debt, the money I had left over was like the same exact amount this guy had asked to go drive this truck at Phoenix. And went and did it.
Wow.
And got a ride to go race at Homestead the following week, and basically ran the last 2 races of 2014. And NASCAR approved me to go run Daytona the following year in 2015, and ran the whole year in 2015. I think we finished 16th in points that next year, and hopped around from team to team, drove for a different team in 15, 16, and 17. And every year I'm like growing the team. And then I'd lose my ride at the end of the year because another driver would come in with more funding. And I basically said, I think I can do this. I think I can start my own team and do it myself and kind of build something up and at least have somewhat kind of control over my destiny here and try to do things the right way. And so the team owner deal just kind of happened. Didn't plan it out. I wasn't going to set out to be a team owner. It was just kind of a means of a way to go racing. I said, I'm going to own the team, and we'll put partners together and find some sponsors. And it started in 2018. So we ran the truck series in 18, 19, 20. And then in 21, I went to my team partner, John Bomarito, and I said, hey, let's jump up and try to go run the Xfinity series. I think we can do it. I think we've got the resources to do it. I think I can handle it. Let's go make this happen. And so we showed up at Daytona last year, and in practice, we were in the top 10. First race for a team with me driving, top 10 in practice. I was stoked about it. Fast forward to the next day, we're still under COVID protocol last year. And basically once qualifying got rained out, if you weren't in the top 40 in points from the year before, you got sent to the house and you couldn't race the next 10 races. And so our team basically sat on the sidelines for the first 10 races of the year. And that was kind of when I said, you know what, let me take a step back. Let me put my owner hat on. We had 3 races to acquire enough points to pass the team in 40th that had been racing the first 10 races last year. So we needed kind of a Hail Mary moment. We needed to go to those 3 races and try to get as many points as we basically could. And so I called on a friend of mine who helped me make some deals, and we came to the decision that I was going to step out. We were going to put Tyler Reddick, who at the time was a 2-time Xfinity champion. I said, you know what, I'm going to put somebody in here with a little more experience. Tyler went out our first race as an Xfinity team last year, finished 8th at Circuit of the Americas in Texas. We went out to Charlotte the next week, finished 5th there at Charlotte. And then we put another driver, Josh Berry, in it from Mid-Ohio, and went and finished 8th with him as well. So we are one of 2 teams in Xfinity Series history that got top 10s in their first 3 starts. So kind of a cool stat to hide and hold on to. But we had a bunch of different drivers run for us last year. I got to run the car some. I actually finished 5th at Talladega and driving my own car last year. So that was pretty special to do.
That's pretty nice. Yes, that's pretty nice.
I had a little bit of everything going on. And then this year I've been running the truck series part-time. And we've had Matt Snyder running the Xfinity car with us, and we're kind of in a growing season. We bought our own shop back in November of last year. We had been leasing space up until this point, and we were able to go in and purchase a shop. It's just under 13,000 square feet to house our Xfinity teams. We've got another 6,000 square foot shop we use for storage. So we're kind of already bursting at the seams here, but lots of good things going on. And we're looking at our second Xfinity car. It may come out this year. We're working on putting some pieces together for me to run it. We've actually looked at potentially running the Michigan race later this year with me running it, and maybe run some more races later this season and run the truck some more. I'll be in the truck at Talladega with Dometic all over it. So
Nice.
Definitely excited about that one, and got a lot of exciting things going on. So we're just trying to do all the right things and make the right decisions to make sure that our team can just continue to grow. And we've been really fortunate to be aligned with some great partners and people that believe and see the vision we've got for our team. And you look at really where we were in 2018, we were just me. It was honestly me and two or three of my friends that we were going racing and just driving to every track and just trying to make a thing work. And it was just a dream. And, we've got a legitimate team now. I mean, we've got just under 15 full-time guys here in the shop. We've got 5 pit crews that come in on race day to work with us. I mean, it's crazy to see how much it's grown. We've got 21 Xfinity cars total in our inventory right now. We've got 11 trucks. So we've got all kind of stuff happening. So very fortunate to look back over the last couple of years and see the doors that God has opened and the people he's put in our path. And I smile ear to ear every time we get to go to the racetrack.
That is just, for people who follow the sport, I mean, that's just an amazing track record to do what you have done in that shorter period of time. I think, Sarah, you certainly hooked on to a rising star here. But now, let me ask you,
hey, Bob, 1 second. One second, Bob. I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm just supposed to do an ad or something a little while ago?
Yeah, I did, but
don't miss that on your ad.
I just want to make sure you don't get in trouble,
No, I won't get in trouble. It's my show, Bernie. How can I get in trouble?
Oh, okay. So there's no puppets pulling the strings?
No, this is too much fun. So I'll do the ad at the end, and Kenny won't mind at all. But Sarah, did you find Jordan, or did Jordan find you? Because he's got a business major, so he knows how important the sponsors are. So how did that relationship come about?
Well, I'll give him the credit, but I will say that I think that karma and a little bit of fate might have been just kind of on his side at the right time. So I came on to Dometic for the RV marketing team in June of last year. And I had been saying to folks, I really think we need to get involved with NASCAR. We need to do a sponsorship. We need to look into this. We need to look into it. And so a couple weeks went by, the new girl getting your, lay of the land, getting your feet wet and stuff like that. And actually in past roles at other companies, I had the same vision and tried to make it happen, but, couldn't for whatever reason. It wasn't meant to be. And so when I came to Dometic, I had that same feeling. And then it was maybe about 3 months after I started, I got an email that linked me to Jordan and gave him a call. I think I might have even called towards the end, towards like the middle of Q4. And I was like, look, are we late? I know things start like anytime now. And of course, Jordan back then, he was like, oh no, it's fine. We do everything last minute in the racing world. And I thought, yeah, but like seriously, Daytona's like in weeks. And we hustled in Dometic and we got it together and Daytona was fantastic. And we came out the gate, with him. And it was, I think it was so funny because I didn't know much about racing. And Jordan said, this is kind of our big showdown. Like we come out hot. And I didn't really realize how intense and amazing Daytona was. So he started us off with a high, and Daytona was absolutely insane.
Right.
Yeah.
The best race of the year.
Every race we go to, I'm like, well, why isn't it like Daytona? So well, it's okay. I'm learning the ropes, and we'll get there. And I got to give the other tracks their time in the limelight. But Daytona was hot, man. That was intense.
Right. I'm going to check the comments. Bernie, give Jordan a couple of questions. I'm going to just go back to comments and see what we're missing.
And don't forget Jim Comboy, because he's been kind of hanging out there, real polite, like not getting all in our face, but he's an awesome guy, and he is the king of RV roof repair. So we got to make sure we say a mention to him. So, Jordan, I'm a big Chevy fan, and I know you drive a Chevy truck. And I'm a little bit of a nuts and bolts. Like all I do is talk to customers all day about, the different, engines and gear ratios and stuff on their truck, so they make sure they're towing the right camper. Can you give me a little bit of the fun facts of what's under the hood for your truck that you drive?
Yeah. So we basically, it's a pretty unique deal that we're on this year. We don't own any of the motors that will run in our Xfinity car this year. We actually lease them from Richard Childress Racing and Chevrolet.
Okay.
every race, and that's kind of their way of keeping the latest and greatest secrets close. They
Oh, okay.
basically bring the motor to us on Monday, we race it, and then the following Monday they come and pick it back up, and we get a fresh one for the following week. And we have a same deal set up with our gears and transmission. So every time we run our Xfinity car, we've got a brand new motor, brand new transmission, and a brand new gear for every race. And every track we go to, you've got a different gear ratio in the rear end. It could be anywhere from a 280 to a 370. The road course race,
280.
Yeah. So you've got everything from one side of the board to the other. And it's all depending on how big that track is, how many turns it's got if you go to a road course. So a lot of fine tuning goes in that. We've actually got a pretty cool device here in the shop called a pull down rig. You roll the car up and it's got hydraulic rams that hook to all four corners of the car. Chevrolet gives us load numbers to estimate how much load that race car will experience in the corner, and we can simulate the race car being on the racetrack here in our shop. So when you see that race car out there on the racetrack and it's this far off the track, that's the way we're able to adjust our springs and shocks to get that thing down on the racetrack. So
it doesn't roll or whatever. Yeah,
exactly.
In the camera,
a lot of details go into it, and we run different springs and shocks at every track. I mean, you got upwards of the week of the race, you've got 4 or 5 days solely on making adjustments to make sure that thing's tuned right for that race coming up.
Doesn't slide up off the ramp, off the top of
so when you hear the driver complaining and yelling at his crew that it's loose or tight or I need this, I need that, that's where all those adjustments are made on race week here in the shop. So
you guys don't have to rip the motors apart every week and put them back together. Someone just shows up, fresh one, it's all tuned for that particular race. How outstanding is that? That's customer service right there.
It is. Of course, they're very proud of that surface. So we make sure we get them taken care of. But pretty much everything else, I mean, we built here in a shop, and we've got basically starts with a bare chassis and a body, and our guys here in the shop assemble everything from the ground up to build that car, from the lower control arms, the truck arms, your spindles, your hubs, your brakes, all that stuff gets assembled right here in our shop. And after the car runs every race, they'll basically bring that car back and strip the entire, even if it doesn't wreck, they strip the entire car down just so they can go through and quality control check every single part that just raced.
Yeah, it could be a little micro crack that you wouldn't even know about unless you took it apart. Now, exactly. Talladega, isn't that like a fishbowl? Isn't that like a small track that's kind of like really ramped up on the sides?
So Talladega is the opposite. That's Bristol.
I might be thinking about what's that other one?
Yeah, so Bristol is the one that's like a half-mile fishbowl. Talladega is pretty much, it's the same style track as Daytona, actually bigger than Daytona. And Talladega is actually so big, when you're standing on the front stretch, when the cars get around to the back side of the racetrack, you can't hear them anymore. That's how big that place is.
Wow.
It's pretty crazy. And that's where we finished fifth last year. And it's a different style of racing.
That's
Talladega
is where fifth last year.
We had the drafting going on at Talladega and Daytona. You see all 30, 40 cars lined up in a row bumping, and it's a lot. It's like a very, very high speed game of chess, because you got to pick your lanes and where you go, and it's a really fun race to run for sure.
And how fast do you go on those straightaways typically?
So NASCAR actually puts a restrictor plate on our motors at Talladega and Daytona. They could probably get our cars up to 230, 240, but they put a restrictor plate on to slow us down. But we'll probably still hit 195, 200 miles an hour at Talladega.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
And I see you guys sometimes 4 and 5 wide going around. Holy God, it's so frightening. Like someone just loosens up a little bit. The tire's a little worn. See ya.
One guy wrecks and usually takes out 20 with him, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know. It's scary stuff.
Too, you get to know these guys pretty well. And I feel like the minute that we started to get to know him as a person, not as a brand or as a driver or whatever, right, you do feel a bit more. You feel more intense, and you have more, I don't know, skin in the game, I guess you could say, when he's going around, or even Myatt. We've gotten to know Myatt really well too. In fact, I think there was a wreck that Myatt was in earlier in the year that was pretty gnarly. And our VP of aftermarket sales, Michael McCaslin, texted me and he was like, you got to find out if he's okay, man. I care about that kid. And I was like,
it becomes family, right?
Yeah. And it's different. I will say that, being involved in you and your brand and your business, I didn't watch NASCAR before. And now I come home and I'm like, can you guys just like laugh? I just gotta make sure he's okay. I gotta see how he's doing. Like,
I have no idea what happened.
Well, we missed you. I think. Did we miss him? Yeah. I'm just kidding.
So you guys won, right?
Yeah, we were saying prayers. We're hoping you're okay.
Oh, okay. All right. I just saw this note. So Ryan Hadley, who I talked to you about before, Sarah, he's going to be at the track all weekend. So he apparently had his tickets. So I don't know if there's anything we could do to get him over to the pits at all, but we can talk about that. We got plenty of time on that.
This William Miller, who has won the Dometic Go set.
No, Michael DiPietro won it.
Michael DiPietro. I know she wants to meet Willie Miller because he is quite a character.
Okay. Are you guys going to make sure I get the address and
I will get you Michael's address. I will. Okay. While we're here, I want to do something else. I got involved with NASCAR probably about 25 years ago when I owned an imaging company and sold a lot of Kodak products, and Sterling Marlin was driving the Yellow 4 for Kodak and got very friendly with Sterling and really got into the sport. But I'm probably like you, Jordan, in the sense that I get into something and I get into it really deeply. There was a book out. Have you ever read The Business of NASCAR? It was out about 20 years ago.
There's a couple of them that I've read that were pretty good. Who wrote that one?
David Habershan. And it was a phenomenal book because it went in behind the scenes, talked about all the stuff that you would have studied in the your motorsports marketing program, went into the souvenirs, went into the business, the funding, and I won't bore you with it, but it gave me such a love for NASCAR to know what actually goes behind the wall. And speaking about behind the wall, let's talk a little bit about your pit crew, because this is not a singular sport. You can be a good baseball player and hit home runs and not have to worry about anybody else. Tell us why, the appreciation I'm sure that you have for your pit crew, and a little bit about them and what they do for you.
No, it's definitely a team sport. A lot of people see just the race car driver or just the car out there on the racetrack, and there's a whole crew of guys that are responsible for that car racing that weekend. You start with the team that's working in the shop to build the race car, the truck driver that hauls it from our shop in Statesville to, this picture here, all the way out to Las Vegas. You've got the pit crew. We spend all this money to make sure these cars are fast, and you spend time on the body to make it aerodynamic and the lightest part and the latest, greatest, and whatever it is. We spend all this R&D to go in to make the thing as fast as possible. And you do that to go fast on the racetrack. Well, it's a lot easier to pass these guys in the pits if your pit crew can get you a fast pit stop. You may come in the pits 15th and they get you a good pit stop. You might come out 10th. Those 5 spots, you were fighting these guys on the racetrack. Now you're 5 spots further up in the field. So the pit crew can really make or break your night sometimes, but it's made up of 5 guys. You've got your fuel man, the front changer, the rear changer, the jack man, and a tire carrier. And typically the front changer jumps out first. The jack man jumps out right behind them. And these guys are jumping off the wall at the car coming in the pit. I mean, they're still going 60, 70 miles an hour. These guys are jumping out in front of them. And I mean, sometimes you're coming into your pit stall. There's another guy coming around you. I mean, you may see some highlights. These guys get hit and they get right back up and keep digging on their pit stop. So it definitely is a full team effort to get in your box and get a good pit stop. But yeah, it takes everybody at operating at 110% for the team to work like it's supposed to. And we're really fortunate on our Xfinity team that'll be there this week. And we've got a a great group of guys that actually they'll pit our car on Saturday, and then half of them will be there on Sunday for a cup car. So we actually were able to get some of the same guys doing Sundays to come over and work with us on Saturday. So they're getting double the reps each weekend.
Good.
Jordan, when I was, go ahead.
Go ahead, Bernie. No.
Yeah. In the 80s and 90s, I was watching truck racing as a real new sport. And I remember watching it, and they had a lot of trouble keeping those trucks on the road, like on the track. Those things were just real light in the back, and they had no aerodynamics. And it was kind of comedy, but scary. Like they just really didn't have, much control. And I'm assuming, I haven't seen a truck race in a little while, I'm assuming that those trucks are a lot better equipped to handle that kind of race at this point.
Yeah. Do you have that picture, Bob, you just had of that race truck that we ran out of Vegas? I don't know if you can still pull that up or not.
There you go.
So it's crazy. You look at these trucks, and it's not really what you think about a race truck. It's not the Silverado you see out there on the road. This thing is low. It's light. It's built to go fast. It's got that big 6-inch spoiler on the back of it. There's actually a bed, but it's all basically covered.
Yep.
So it's pretty crazy. It's not like the truck you'd see driving around town. This thing is, a quarter inch off the racetrack. It's got skew built into it. It's pretty
that fin
crazy.
in the back's going to keep the tail down too.
Yeah, exactly. So if you actually saw a race truck like the one we have there sitting next to our Xfinity car, the chassis themselves are actually pretty close. The bodies are what really differentiates it. But you can see that thing is low. The body's built tight to it. You've got the side skirts that come all the way down. So it's about as souped up as a truck could get. And that thing to go, at this track here at Vegas, you're going 175, 180 miles an hour. That thing's going through the corner, and you've got that big spoiler on the back. So they're definitely tuned to go fast for sure.
Now, do you counterbalance that with some different weights and things like that? Kind of, leverage and balance that around the corners?
So you've actually got to weigh a certain weight to pass tech in NASCAR. They give you a certain weight, and it's all based on the driver weight. So if you've got a race car driver like myself, I'm right at 195, and you've got one that's 140. The race car requirement weights are different. They basically scale it off of your driver weight so that when that driver gets in the car, all the vehicles are the same weight. So we use a material that a lot of people don't see before. You may have heard of tungsten. We have 6-inch blocks of tungsten. I mean, they're literally maybe about that big, 6 inches by about 3 inches, and it's 35 pounds a block, and it's ridiculously heavy to pick it up. And we use tungsten to basically fill the frame rails of the race car with that weight to get it basically percentaged out to where we want it. We typically run what we call cross weight, which is the left rear to right front, left front to right rear, that cross weight on the race car. We run at about 52, 53%, somewhere in there. And that dictates how well that weight's transferred as it goes to the corners. So we've got lots of different adjustments we use, but that biggest thing is to get that truck off in the corner and help get it turned. And you actually may see pictures and videos of the car sideways, and that thing is just loose. But believe it or not, at 180 miles an hour, you've got the side of that race car acts like a billboard from downforce to keep it pushed down the racetrack. So a lot goes into keeping these things going fast, and a lot of details go into getting them to handle right. But yeah, a lot of adjustments and a lot of different ways to get these things to handle right. But that's why it's so important to have a good crew behind you to build a good race car.
And I've been noticing, like in NASCAR, when they start to spin, these fins pop up on the roof to slow the spin around. I was like, that is genius. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so the fins you see on the roof of the cars, they were invented by Jack Roush, I believe, in the mid to late 90s. So if you go back and you watch a lot of NASCAR races from the 80s and 90s, there's a lot of flips. Pretty much every time a car would spin out, he's spinning, he's flipping, he's upside down. So they put these roof flaps in the roof of the car, and they kind of serve two purposes. When that thing spins backwards, it basically acts opposite of a wing. So it's basically going up as that thing goes. It's basically pushing the car back down, but it's also allowing air to evacuate from the cabin to keep it on the ground. So it's
because the wind's coming in the window. Yeah,
exactly.
Fantastic.
We probably should have scheduled you for 2 hours. We tried. I really appreciate you taking time to come on because our fans love the show, and they love when we have guests like you on. but it's been an amazing hour. And Sara, I want to give you just at the end here before we end it, tell people where they can find the Dometic products.
So you can always find Dometic products for your RVs at RV dealerships around the country, around North America. You can also order some of the products online at Dometic.com. But I would always recommend that everybody check out the dealerships, across the country. And you can go on to Dometic.com and hit our Find a Dealer button, and that'll kind of take you to the local dealerships near you in your zip code.
Yeah, that website's a good place to figure out what's available too. They got so many cool new products.
Yeah,
and they're always new ones. Yeah.
I will say just a plug. You mentioned your Chevy truck earlier. Just a plug to some new products that we've got coming out. We have a brand new, it's called a CCFT. It's a center truck console, and it goes in newer Chevy and Ford trucks. And it's a cooler. It turns your console into a cooler. And so it holds.
That's so cool.
It's awesome. We obviously it in race truck, but it's too heavy. So
we talked about it.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for having us on. It's been a fun hour, and so for all you fans, make sure we've got Dometic on the 31 Xfinity card this weekend up there at New Hampshire. We've got it'll be on the Xfinity card again at Michigan coming up, and then again at Talladega this fall. So it's fun. So make sure you guys tune in and watch us. It'll be on USA and NBC this weekend, and hopefully see everybody out of the racetrack.
Yeah, Ryan might find his way. He's pretty creative. I suspect he'll find his way down to the pits somehow to say hello. And if Michael DePietro's up there, I guarantee you he knows his way around the garage really well. So he'll find his way.
Him to bring his Dometic camping gear out that he just won and come hang out with us.
he's going to have to wait for that. All right. Thank you again, Sara. Thanks for putting this together. Jordan, fantastic listening to you, and I know you gained an awful lot of fans here in New England tonight. I can tell you that. So best of luck with your career. All right.
Thanks so much, guys. It's been a pleasure.
I'm going to do a quick commercial and then the closing theme. All right. See you folks later on.
Bye.
All right. Our sponsor has been Seacoast RV's Route 1, Saco, Maine, creating family fun on Route 1. Winnebago Motorhomes, Crop Park Models, #1 car park model dealer in the country, and Elevation Park Models are now in stock at Seacoast. Full service department, everything from your pop-up camper to a 45-foot diesel pusher. Stop in and see Kenny and Amanda and Kendra and Brittany. We appreciate you joining us tonight. It was a terrific show as always, and we will close it out.
This edition of RVing in New England was a presentation of the New England RV Dealers Association. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram.